the tape for this, our main event of the evening. We introduce the champion, Chris, the West Side Strangler Brennan. Let's get it all!
What's up, guys? We're here to go over UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi this weekend. Super great card. Couple big changes on the card, but it turned out to be almost like it was planned. They were such good fights, and everyone just was ready to make weight.
I might be happier for the fights that we ended up with.
For sure. A couple risky fights for guys to take at the moment, but at the same time, big return if they pull it off.
Yeah, and the first fight. So we'll start with the undercard fight first. Next Generation's Tim Elliott is fighting a guy, Muhammad Mokaev.
Yeah.
What do you know about Muhammad?
Oh, he's got a huge mouth. He talks a lot. He's been going back and forth with Tim on Twitter for the last 2 months. And then he just saw it. I saw Tim send us a picture. They were in the elevator, and Muhammad was calling him small and old. And I was like, small, bro. Like, he was literally 30 pounds over when he got there. Like, he's not small. He's got to be one of the biggest 25ers in the division. And
one of the strongest, too, yeah?
He is, I would say, the strongest. But I don't know. There would have to be somebody that's like 6 inches shorter than him and, like, crazy jacked to be as strong as him. He's very, very strong. Muhammad Mokaev is only 10-0
9-0.
9-0 in as a pro, but he's on a 33 fight win streak.
Yeah, I'm looking.
He's never lost.
I'm looking
from amateur to pro. I don't know why his amateur career was so long, but it's it'll be exciting. He's super beatable, even though he's never been beat. You know, if that makes sense. And Tim's the guy to do it, man. He's so awkward. You know, I'm 100% believe that Tim's going to pull it off, and he just needs to fight smart. The weight cut needs to go well.
Yeah,
you know, he definitely struggles with the weight cut.
Yeah,
but I think if the weight cut is good and the rehydration is good, I think that he gives this guy all the problems.
Weight cut and travel has got to be difficult. You're halfway across the world.
He was still not sleeping very well.
Which is that makes your weight cut tough.
Yeah, I mean, he went early because of that. You know, a week before the week they bring him out.
Yeah.
But still, you know, I had 3 guys fighting on Friday night here.
Yeah.
So Austin went with him to corner him, and Juan Archuleta went with him. He's buddies with Juan Archuleta, and I was going to be here to corner Ty, Delmer, and Cash. And one by one, all 3 of those guys' fights fell off. And there's no fights on Friday night now. So now everyone will probably be at my house watching Tim fight on Saturday morning. It starts early in the morning on Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I think
prelims start at 9 a.m. and then the main card's like 1.
Yeah, 1 Texas time.
Yeah.
So how is Tim going to crack the code? What's he going to do? Without giving away too much.
Yeah, I mean, most likely this guy's not easy to finish. Obviously, he's never been finished. He's never been beat. So I'd imagine that he's going to grind out a decision, beat him up a lot. The guy throws awkward stuff. He throws flying knees. You know, he fought one wrestler and he flying kneed the guy because when he rushed the guy level changed, kind of like Askren did with Masvidal.
Yep.
And that's not the thing to do when someone rushes you. Even though it'd be like, if he didn't throw a knee, the easiest takedown ever. If he does throw a knee, that's the wrap, you know? So you got to circle when you're getting rushed like that. And the guy didn't. I forget who it was, but good fighter, whoever his last win was. And he knocked him out with a jump knee.
Last win was Jafale Finlow.
Was that a knockout?
No, it's rear naked.
What was the one before that?
Win by armbar, win by decision. It's going back a ways. I'm looking at the right guy. Yeah, Mokaev. So if you go back,
he beat somebody good, but his only good
win rear naked, win armbar, win decision, win guillotine.
Sorry, it was all the way back to what's Cody Jordan choke?
Yeah, guillotine. Tap to strikes.
I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah.
Me and Tim were just talking about it. Whoever it was, maybe he dropped him with it and then choked him. I believe it was Cody Durden. But yeah, he definitely dropped him and hurt him with the knee and then choked him.
Yeah, and I'm looking. of his 9 professional wins, it's looking like 5 come by way of submission, 3 decision, and 1 by strikes.
Tim is definitely difficult to submit.
I was just going to say, what kind of ground game?
He's not easy to submit. He has a solid ground game, and his wrestling, is a D2 national champion, and so he can wrestle, and his nickname is Awkward, right? And so he can strike and wrestle. He'll take you down on accident. Like, he has the fastest head outside singles that just dumps guys, doesn't go to the ground with them, just dumps them, lets them up, fight some more, does it again. Did in his last fight against Victor Altamirano a couple times, and it's just a kind of an easy takedown, So I'm positive he gets on top at some point. He may end up on his back as well, because Muhammad can wrestle as well.
Yeah.
But I believe that Tim gets on top at some point.
Do you like Tim off his back?
I don't like anyone off their back.
Okay.
He needs to use whatever he can from the bottom to get back on top and not hang out on bottom. This guy he's got great submission defense, and he's not exciting. He's not killing anybody with his ground and pound, but he does have good enough submissions. So he needs to get up without giving up his back, and I'm sure, I'll go ahead and say it now, they're both going to get on top. They're both going to get takedowns.
Okay.
Tim's too awkward to get on top at some point, just because he's got the craziest scrambles. And so even if he gets taken down, he'll find a way to get on top. Even when he fought Tagura from Russia, he got taken down. Every takedown, not every takedown, but I would say 50 to 75% of every takedown Tagura got, he ended up on bottom. Tim ended up on top.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he was able to just
reverses on the shot, on the takedown.
Yep.
Weird scrambles. He's strong. So
he's awkward.
Yeah, I'm going. He is definitely awkward. I'm going with Tim by decision.
Okay, so this is a grinder. This is 3 rounds.
Yep.
It is the main. It's the prelim final.
It was on the main card already.
Yeah.
It was on the main card when the first thing was announced, and I was like, man, this is an insane main card. And then they bumped him to the prelims, and I'm like, why did they put him, a guy that's been there for 12 years, a guy who's fought for the belt? Why is he on the prelims?
My guess is that his opponent wasn't Russian, because every main card.
But he is Russian. He's from Dagestan, fighting out of London, England.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He is Russian.
All right. Well, there goes that theory.
Yeah, he just trains in England.
Tim by decision.
Yep.
Let's jump up into the main card. We'll go a little deeper in the main card. Magomed Ankalaev coming in 18-1-1 versus Johnny Walker coming in at 21-7.
So, last fight for Ankalaev was Big Blonde. What's his name?
I will tell you. Anthony Smith.
No.
Thiago Santos.
Nope. Is that what his last fight was? Anthony Smith?
Yeah, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, Volkan.
Who did he fight? That was what? No, it's Blachowicz. It is his last.
Blachowicz.
Blachowicz.
Yeah, the draw.
It was a draw.
Yes,
that was his last fight.
My bad.
So he was losing that fight, and then just started destroying his leg with leg kicks.
I remember that.
To where he couldn't. He ended up falling down and ended up fighting off his back. Blachowicz did, Blachowicz, whatever his name is. But Ankalaev, all of a sudden turned it up late, and came back and won that round. I think 10-8 at that round, and that's what brought it to a draw.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
That's what happened.
10-8ing Blachowicz.
Right.
Holy crap.
Well, talk about a comeback. I'm sure he was down and was able to come back and do that at the end of the fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, I'm going to save my record here and at least get a one after the one.
It's interesting because, they call him 18-1-1. Yep, that's what they list him as, which has got to be so frustrating as a fighter. You go through, I think that was a 5-round fight too, wasn't it? Was it not?
So the one at the end of my record comes after a 30-minute fight. That was a draw.
So that was Blachowicz Ankalaev was the main event of UFC 282. So that was a 5-round fight, and they went through a war for 5 rounds, and they're like, call it a draw.
Yeah.
That's gotta suck, man.
Yeah. Pretty sure there was a 10-8 in there. So that means he won a round and 10-8 that round, and then Blachowicz won the other 3 rounds.
Yeah, yeah. You said you went 30 minutes straight.
Me and Pat Miletich went 30 minutes straight to a draw.
Which Pat Miletich fight was that? Was that
well, our first one went 20 minutes straight. The second one went 30 minutes straight.
Okay.
The third one was in the UFC, and it only went like 10 minutes.
Which was the one that had his best man as the referee? Was it that one?
It was definitely 2, but I believe it was 1 and 2.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that makes it tough.
Yeah.
Really hard to bet against Ankalaev here, but you got to Johnny Walker's awesome. He's a solid fighter. He is coming off 2 wins of Anthony Smith, Paul Craig,
Yep.
and Ion Kurchiba?
I think
Kudilaba?
Yeah, Kudilaba. I think that Ankalaev wins this fight.
Yeah.
Johnny Walker is tough. He's good. He's also another guy not from Ireland that's fighting out of SBG. So he's getting better and better everywhere, but I don't think that he has what he needs to beat that guy.
He's got losses to Jamal Hill and Thiago Santos. So when you look at the quality of his wins versus the quality of losses, Anthony Smith is and Paul Craig, they're not pushovers. But
No, not
they're
at
also
all.
Not Jamal Hill.
No,
So
for sure.
do you see?
Who's Ankalaev's one loss?
Let me look and see.
Is it in the UFC?
Paul Craig, UFC Fight Night 127.
Submission?
Yeah, triangle choke.
I was going to say it'd have to be a submission if Paul Craig won.
But it was his first fight in the UFC,
Okay.
and he's gone on a bit of a streak since then. Yeah, that was in 2018. How do you see this? How do you see this fight going?
I'm going to go with him by decision, just
Okay.
because it's 3 rounds. If it was 5, I'd say he stops Walker, and he still might stop him, but I think he probably wins by decision in 3 rounds.
If he stops him, it's going to be strikes. Is
Yeah.
he's gonna knock him down, not take him down?
Right. I
Okay.
mean, he can take him down, but I
Right.
believe he probably gets back to eating up that front leg like he did on Blachowicz, and goes from there.
If I was Johnny Walker, I'd be working on
Better be. be.
checking those kicks, man.
Yeah.
But and we've talked about this before. Even if you check a kick, though, that doesn't come without a cost.
For sure.
That
sure.
checking those kicks hurts.
But if you check them correctly, and the calf kick is difficult regardless. You check it or not, it's still going to hurt.
Yeah.
But if you check a regular leg kick correctly, it's going to hurt him, and he
More.
won't kick that much. He won't kick much anymore.
The co-main, Kamaru Usman coming in at 20-3 versus Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev hasn't fought in over
He never
a year.
fights. He's only fought a few times in the UFC.
He's 12-0 professional, and his UFC he's got
5 fights maybe.
1, 2, 3. This is only. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta go deeper. He's got 3 fights going back to 2020 in the UFC. And then he had a whole bunch of council bouts with Leon. And then which is interesting, he went to Bulldog Fight Night. He was in UFC, then he went to Bulldog, and then he's been at UFC 2 times after that with Gilbert and Kevin Holland.
Huh.
I wouldn't think the UFC
Does it
would
say
let.
under there that it was kickboxing or boxing or something besides MMA? Next to it?
Oh, it says wrestling.
Okay.
It says wrestling.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why. And it was win
That
by
makes
points.
more sense. So this is a great fight.
I might
It's
be
at 185, so
Yeah.
Usman's moving up.
Yep.
Tough fight to take. Usman has the highest takedown defense in UFC history at 97%. I don't know how it's 97%, and they also claim he's never been taken down. He has been taken down. He got taken down by Colby, and he also got taken down.
Didn't Leon take him down?
Leon took him down, mounted him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took him down. And,
That was the second time.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been taken down, but they still have him at the whatever. But yeah, he's at 97% takedown accuracy defense.
Man, when you think about Usman's physique, And now he doesn't have to cut, and he gets to keep an extra 15 pounds on him.
So that's a different thing altogether. It's not even a 10-pound weight class. That's a 15-pound weight class. That's when they first started gapping bigger on the jumps in the weight classes. So I don't know. You know, I know he walks big, and we know that Chimaev missed by 9 pounds at 170, so that's why he's at 85.
Yeah.
I think there was talk of Usman before going to 85.
Okay.
But I think he wanted to retain the belt again and kind of go from there first. I don't know. But I think it's a great fight. I think that Chimaev needs to take him down. I think he'll try to take him down. And he might take him down. Who knows? But, it's so intriguing. This fight, I can't call this fight. Hard to bet against Chimaev.
Yep.
But
it's almost equally hard to bet against Usman.
Gilbert Burns took him in deep waters, man.
Yeah.
And hurt him.
Yeah.
You know, and not that MMA math ever works out, but Usman knocked out Gilbert Burns. You know, so Usman's going to have the power, I believe, in the striking. I think that and we'll see what his speed carries like from moving up to 185. I don't know. It'll be an interesting fight, and I'm excited for it.
Fight IQ feels like Usman's got the higher fight IQ in this one.
I would go with that.
I feel like Khamzat is gonna bull rush you. He's gonna overwhelm you, but I don't know that. And he's just gonna like bite down on his mouth guard and just go in. Where I feel like Usman's gonna be more patient. He's gonna pick you apart a little bit more.
I think someone needs to come out and set the tone right off the bat and get a takedown, because if they both start striking and they both start banging on the feet, they're both going to get lured into that, and someone's going to get an easy takedown because of it.
Okay.
You know, they're gonna get comfortable striking and not thinking about the wrestling and end up on their back. And I think if someone just comes out and sets the tone and puts the other on their back, it'll set up for, you know. Now you know I can take you down.
Yep.
Even if you get back up, let's go back to the feet. But now you know I can take you down.
Right.
And they'll kind of go from there.
Usman's plus 285. Khamzat's the favorite at minus 360.
Yeah.
Which
that's a. I mean, it could be a good bet. It could be the exact same thing the other way around.
Right.
Chimaev hasn't lost, right?
Correct. He's 12-0.
Right. So I think the only reason that's there is because Usman is coming off a loss.
2 losses.
2 losses to the same guy.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think it translates, you know, to fighting Khamzat. I would go with a clean slate for both of them. I think it's a very even matchup. I think it's much more even than the line says. I think the one issue could be the size in moving up in taking a fight on 11 days notice.
Yeah, that's a huge piece of this.
And they're the co-main, right? So fortunately for them, that's a 3-round fight. So that'll be Usman's first 3-round fight in probably multiple years. You know, he's been fighting for the belt since he won the belt.
Yeah,
even his 2 losses came from fighting for the belt. So those were 5-rounders.
5-rounders. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who did he get the belt from? Was it Woodley?
Yes. I think
so then, Covington, Masvidal, Burns, Masvidal, Covington, Edwards.
8 or 9, you just said? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
all 5-rounders.
All 5-rounders.
Yeah,
so
and this will be the first 5-rounder for Khamzat, right? Or was Usman or Burns a main event that night?
That might have been a 5-rounder.
They might have gone 5 rounds just because it was a main event.
But you're thinking this is? Oh no, it is a 3-round fight.
Yeah, this is a 3-round fight.
And
what was Khamzat Gilbert Burns?
I'm looking to see here if it says. I don't know that it was.
Doesn't say how much.
No, that was Volkanovski and Korean Zombie. So it was.
They were a 3-rounder.
So they were a 3-rounder. Yeah, man. I just don't. I think 3
rounds is better for someone taking a fight on 10 days notice, 11 days notice.
Yep.
So that that helps Usman as far as conditioning goes. He can go a little harder early on. But I don't know.
If I was Usman, I'd be watching that. I would be memorizing that Gilbert Burns fight.
Oh yeah.
Because Gilbert, he hurt him. He knocked him down. At one point, I feel like he had him up against the cage and was starting to.
Has he fought since then?
He fought Kevin Holland for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But again, that was September of 2022.
That was another fight change on weigh-in day. That was the Diaz-Leon Edwards thing.
Yeah.
And they switched, and he switched.
Oh, yeah. That was a big round robin where everybody missed. And yeah, I remember that. I think Khamzat plays a really good bad guy in the UFC right now, so it makes it easy for me to want to.
Crazy, man.
Right?
But he's good.
He's good. But I think if Kamaru, if he studies, if he prepares, and if he watches film, I think he's got the fight IQ to overcome what
I think he has the fight IQ to decision him.
Okay.
You know, he either knocks him out early or he decisions him. I don't see him doing anything else. I don't see him getting on top and ground and pounding him.
Yeah.
You know, I see him either catching him on the feet or he's able to grind out a decision. I just don't know if he can take him down 3 rounds in a row. Or the problem is, if Khamzat wants to take him down and he wants to strike with Khamzat, it's going to be easier for Khamzat to get the takedown. You know, so it's going to put Usman in a position where he can't really let go. He can't really get off his punches, you know, while the other guy's trying to take him down. It's difficult to play that yo-yo game, you know, when he's coming in, I'm coming in. If I'm trying to extend and he's under me, you know, like he's got so much to think about if Khamzat decides that it wants to be a wrestling match.
Can't wait for that one. Main event of the evening. This is going to be a 5-rounder. Islam Makhachev, Alexander Volkanovski, number 2. Volkanovski again taking this on what 9 days?
Same day. I think these guys
pretty
flipped
close.
flights.
Maybe his was a little bit before,
a day or two before.
Yeah. First off, any comment on Oliveira splitting his head open and training? Is that a freak accident? Is that a bad training strategy?
I mean, yes and no. He should probably wear. I mean, I don't know. We don't wear headgear, you know. I've heard people say he should have been wearing headgear just to not get cut. Okay, but I think the reason people get cut so close, their weight's down, their skin's thin, they're bony.
Yep.
You know what I mean? My rib injuries don't bother me until I start getting skinny, and then like the cartilage starts catching on that Marcelo Garcia rib that I've got, but it happens when I get skinny. When I start getting lean, that's when I get the most issues with it. Your face gets bony.
Yep.
You know, it's much easier to cut at that point, and your skin's thin. So that's probably one reason. But you know, how hard are you going? You know, we have our last hard spar. I don't know. I guess it's about the same amount of time out. I don't know.
I can't remember. There was a fighter that went on Joe Rogan a couple years ago, and he actually didn't spar his entire training camp.
Max Holloway?
That's who it was.
Yeah, Max doesn't. He supposedly doesn't spar at all anymore.
And the fight they were talking about, he came in and looked. I mean, he ran over. I don't remember who his opponent was, but he ran over them. And I remember Rogan being like, "This may be the strategy of the future. Don't take the damage." You know, work on conditioning, and when you're at that level, I mean, it makes you wonder how much more you're going to learn in sparring. You might get some techniques and work on head movement, but you can do all that without taking a punch, right?
Sure. Sparring's important just for the pace, you know, the cardio pace. You can sprint, run, swim, all those things. It's not the same as a live sparring round. You get that adrenaline, you know, a little bit of nerves beforehand. Not quite the same as a fight, but that's really the only way to duplicate that feeling for a fight is come in on spar day, nervous, you know, getting your gloves on, looking around the room, getting ready, you know, and kind of picking out who your rounds are going to be or knowing who your rounds are going to be and which rounds are your hard rounds and whatnot. So it's really gets you in the zone. You know, you only get to spar, like we spar once a week, and it's hard sparring, but it's important. It's especially important for guys who are not Max Holloway, not fought, 30 times, 25 times in the UFC.
Sure.
But it definitely helps with the conditioning. Just like coming in, like people will tell me, oh, I'm going to get in shape and then join your jiu-jitsu class. I don't want to die, so I'm going to get in shape first. I'm like, bro, you could be Lance Armstrong. You're going to come in here and get tired because this is not what you do regularly.
Yep.
You're going to be exhausted. I promise you're going to be exhausted no matter what. Probably in the warm-up, just because it's functional. It's stuff that you don't normally do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's where sparring is important. Same thing I used to tell my kids that I train that race motocross. We do sprints, motocross sprints, laps, that were sprints. And as much as we did that and as hard as they would go during those times, as soon as they all turn pro, the first question, what do you think the difference is? Oh, the pace, the race pace is crazy. The race pace is so fast for so long.
Yeah.
I was like, and everyone says the exact same thing. The race pace is so much faster. Everyone is fast,
Yep.
and it's the same. Like, you can't expect to go fight a guy in the UFC and be the same as fighting a guy in a local show.
Sure.
the he's better, and his conditioning's better and his training's better, and it's just
Fight IQ, everything
is better. Yeah.
All right. Well, getting back to Volkanovski and Makhachev. The previous fight went 5 rounds. I'm trying to
And
even
Volk
remember.
won.
It was a decision, and was it a split decision?
Yes, and Volk should have won and lost.
Yeah. No, it was a unanimous decision.
Was it?
That's what it says. That's what it says. But I agree
I
with
had
you.
Volkanovski winning that fight, and I don't know what his condition. I think the only way he loses now is conditioning. Because of the 5-round fight on 11 days notice. He literally said, I didn't have a beer in my hand when I got the phone call, or did I? I was like, jeez, what a bummer to get that call. And that's why I think, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
This is his this is his chance.
Yeah.
If he loses this fight, no one's going to come back and say, well, it was only on 11 days, so let's give you one more try at him. This is his shot to redeem it and to be a 2-division belt holder. If
he wins, you can guarantee there's a third one, though.
For sure.
Yeah.
But if he loses, that's it. And he kind of he shot his shot.
Right. Well, that's what I said. Man, what a risky fight to take on that short of notice. I'm sure him and Usman both got paid extremely well to save that card.
Yeah.
It was already a great card. But it's so great, I can't remember who was fighting who now, just because Charles Oliveira, and then who was fighting Hamzat?
Paulo Costa.
Paulo Costa, yeah. I think they both got upgraded. So that had to cost them. And so these guys are obviously making good money off the deal, but it was just risky for Volkanovski, I think, more than anybody else on the card.
Yeah.
Just because if he doesn't get it done, where does that leave him? Back at 45, or 45. But if he does get it done, man, whoo.
I meant to ask, and I didn't, going back to the Usman fight for a second. Usman Chimaev, they're next in line to fight Sean Strickland. They got to be.
Right.
And, boy.
I saw a meme earlier. It was like, who would have thought 1 year ago that Chimaev and Kamaru Usman would be in line try to fight each other to get ready to fight Sean Strickland. The winner gets Sean Strickland for the belt.
Right.
But awesome.
That's
I
crazy.
love it.
I put together a couple of statistics that I thought were interesting for this. We've got five Russians on the main card. When you combine all of the records of the Russians' opponents, we'll start there. You look at Johnny Walker and Alves. I mean, going through the non-Russians, their record is 106-23-1, which is an 82.1% win percentage. That's a solid win percentage. Anybody that retires with an 82% win rate, that's solid.
Very good.
Then you look at the Russian side. all 5 fighters on the Russian main card total 85, 6 and 1 with a 92.3% win rate.
Yeah.
This is a stacked card.
It is. That's wild. What's that average? You know that average between the two?
What do you mean?
Like,
oh, if you add them together?
yeah, if you add them together,
Nah,
but somewhere in the 88, 89?
Probably. It's going to be a little more skewed toward the non-Russians because
Right.
they've got more fights. So that's going to bring the average down. But it's probably 80, 86, 87%.
Yeah, I mean, that's still that's a hell of a card.
That's it. Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
And I think going through, you've picked Ankalaev. I think you're kind of leaning towards Hamzat, but that one's kind of a pick-em. When you look at Makhachev and Volkanovski,
I'm selling the house. I'm going all in on Volk. Maybe like one of the boards on my patio in the back. I'll trade that.
Right. Just the one.
But yes, I'm pulling for him big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Got to like that. Awesome. Before we close, any thoughts on the USADA UFC thing that's going to happen right now?
I guess whoever they are switching to is going to be very similar.
Okay.
So they are going to have somebody that's not going to be unsanctioned. I think that people think that it had to do with Conor of why they're getting rid of him, and it could. I don't know. They're saying that it was happening before the Conor thing.
Right.
So that's possible as well. I have no idea. I'm not going to assume one way or the other.
Right.
Or speculate that it's because of him. I know that PFL hired USADA, and I think it was to be like, look, we're important as well. We're legit as well. But now that they're dropping them, are they going to keep them or what? I don't know what the plan will be for them.
Interesting.
And I have no information on the Bellator PFL thing either.
You just read my mind.
It was supposed to be the 16th. Today is the 18th.
Yeah, I think it is.
And I've heard bits and pieces, but as far as I know, 301 in Chicago is.
I went on Bellator's website today just to see what they have, and they've got 301 on there, and that's usually you can click through for a few.
And especially we're 9 weeks out.
Yeah.
That they haven't booked that venue yet or any of that. It's probably not. It's not going to happen. I know that we stayed ready in case.
Yep.
And as soon as we know what the deal is from whoever if they stay with Bellator, if they switch to PFL, whoever it is, we're going to be bugging to be on the first. We want to fight first. We're ready to go now.
Yep.
We're ready to fight first.
Already in camp.
If you're taking us, take us, and let's go.
Yep.
If they have something before the tournament starts in March, that'd be ideal just so we can get ready and fight. And then hopefully we get to fight through his contract. There's 3 fights left on it, and fight through that contract.
Yep.
And not re-sign before the last one, and that way we can just kind of see.
Just
What's
sit
the
back
plan
and
gonna be,
pick your next move.
Yeah.
So cool. All right, we'll be back on Monday, I guess, right?
Awesome. See you guys on Monday. Thanks for watching.
It is all over, just like